We're going to start off the week with a critique of an Alyssa Childers clip from a couple years ago where she's spreading falsehoods about progressive Christianity. So let's begin with the clip where she's talking about how she began to research progressive Christianity and discovered that it was non-creedal.
So I read all the progressive books I could get my hands on. I just began to really deeply research it. And what I discovered is it's very hard to define. And the reason progressive Christianity is really hard to define is because it's not characterized by what you believe. Whereas Christians historically have been creedal people in the sense that we've had creeds, even going back to within a few months of Jesus' death, there were creeds that emerged that Christians said, okay, we believe these things. These things are keeping us on the same page. Progressive Christianity does not work like that. There's a broad spectrum of beliefs that.
Okay, so let's talk about the first falsehood here. There's an important equivocation, and I'm going to assume, I don't know if it's for the sake of charity or not, but I'm going to assume that Alyssa Childers just is confused on these issues, that she's not actively attempting to spread disinformation here. But she says that progressive Christianity doesn't have a creed that defines it, and so progressive Christians are not creedal people. That's the logic she's presented here. What's the proper response to that? The same is true of evangelicalism, is the response. Evangelicalism is not defined by a creed. There's no single creed that defines evangelicalism. Alyssa Childers identifies as an evangelical. It doesn't follow that individual evangelicals are not creedal people. Evangelicals as individuals are defined by all sorts of creeds, catechisms, statements of belief, etc. It doesn't mean they're not creedal people. It just means that evangelicalism as a movement is not defined by a creed particular to evangelicalism. And it's exactly the same when it comes to progressive Christianity. Progressive Christianity is not as a movement, insofar as it is a movement, it's not defined by some unifying creed of the progressive Christians, although there are people who have attempted to make something like that, like John Shelby Spong has attempted when he was alive on his website, which is still up. You can, I think his website's actually called progressivechristianity.org. You can go there and see what Spong says about progressive Christianity, but that's not definitional for all progressive Christians, whether self-identifying as such or whether identified as such by Alyssa Childers. And this is why time and again, when I come back to this point, I always point out that the very people that Childers herself claims are progressive Christians, so she claims Brian Zond as a progressive Christian, she claims Peter Enns as a progressive Christian, she claims the late Rachel Held Evans was a progressive Christian. Each one of those people was a confessor of the Nicene Creed, which is arguably the definitional creed of Orthodox Christianity. Each one of those people assented to the Nicene Creed. And so they are creedal people. Progressive Christianity, however, insofar as it is a movement or insofar as the people are identified with it, it's not defined by a creed, but that's just the same as evangelicalism. And that's the first and very common falsehood that people like Alyssa Childers spread about progressive Christianity.